Welcome to our show. You're listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative arts therapy. Each week we'll explore new ways that music, art, and dance can reach, connect with, and help individuals of all stages of health and wellness. Hi, I'm Bree, a board-certified music therapist and the managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Tune in as I interview professionals from healthcare and educational backgrounds on the impact of the creative arts. If you prefer to watch our live video stream, simply visit www.pbmti.com. Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Bree Gordon, and you are watching Connections. If you're joining us for the first time, I'm so glad you found us. We're on our new-ish home, still kind of new at 95.3 FM. Hanging strong at 1470 AM, and you can also find our live video feed on Facebook Live, which has been an awesome way to connect with new viewers, new listeners. So if you've checked us out, Facebook Live at our page Connections, or searchable by Connections by Aria, we're so glad you found us. And if you haven't checked that out, as long as you're not driving, I think it's important to make the specification. If you're driving, please stick to the radio. But once you get home safely, which we hope we're able to help you do tonight, check us out on Facebook because it's a really cool way to, if you've missed something, we have a really awesome conversations, and they get a little fast, they get a little lively, because I get excited about my guests. When I come on, I'm like excited a half hour beforehand talking to these people in the room, and I just can't wait to share it with the world. So if I'm talking fast on Facebook Live, you've got that option to slide that bar back and re-listen at your convenience whenever you want. So again, if you've checked us out there already, thank you so much. I have the amazing honor of getting to do this show every week, which still blows my mind. I was gone last week doing some advocacy work in Tallahassee for the Alzheimer's Association, and I missed being here so much. I missed this opportunity to connect with someone else in the community, to share it all with you. So I'm glad to be back, and I'm able to be here because of our support and our amazing sponsors. So I want to shout it out to Bright Star Home Care, one of our awesome sponsors. And I also want to encourage anyone listening or watching tonight, if you think that you have an audience for your business, your small or large business, whatever it is that you do, that someone you might be trying to reach to your business would enjoy listening to this show, I hope you'll contact me and we could maybe talk about some sponsorship opportunities, because not only do you have an opportunity to put your commercial on, your logo, but to come on the show and talk about the amazing things you're doing in the community. Our show can only get bigger, reach more people, make a bigger, more positive impact with support from the community. So I just wanted to throw that out there yet again, and thanks everyone for all the love you've shown me. This week is all about the love. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. I hope that you had a wonderful Valentine's Day. But at the same time, I do want to emphasize that it is a day, right? We designate it as a Valentine's Day. We designate it as a special time to show love and appreciation for those in our lives. But there are no rules here. Like this is just a reminder of something we could be doing every day. Right? And kind of makes you feel good. Doesn't it make you feel good to maybe get flowers, or maybe something as simple as a compliment? Like, how easy is it to give a compliment to someone and see the smile on their face? Because the more you give that out, tell someone you really appreciate the work they've done, they look nice today, write them a nice thank you note, whatever that is, whatever that means for you, bake them cookies, whatever that is, the more you put that out there, the more you're going to get back, which is so cool. I feel that at work, I feel it in personal life, and I understand. I am not a card sender, and I wish I were. Every time I receive a thank you note from someone, I think, I want to be that person when I grow up. I mean, nothing makes me feel more special than like a handwritten thank you note, right? And when I sit down to actually do that, and I use that, 4 or 5 minutes out of my day to do that, wow, it feels so good. And I know I'm making a difference to someone else as well. And it really doesn't take that much energy and time on my part. I probably spend more time worrying about not sending thank you notes to people and feeling guilty about it than I do actually sitting down and doing it. And this is just one small example, but this is what it's all about, right? The show is connections. If you've watched, if you've listened before, you know how passionate I am about making connections in our community, nationally, globally, what kind of an impact that makes, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're a volunteer, whether you're a client, whether you're a caregiver. We thrive and we grow from these connections that we make. And I think there's really no better time than Valentine's Day to really sit down and think about what kind of connections are we making with people around us? Because honestly, connections are relationships, right? And relationships are what we're meant to celebrate on Valentine's Day. Oftentimes it's very connected romantically, but I think Valentine's Day is a great time to call up your parents and your grandparents and your siblings and just say, I really appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for supporting me through school or helping me buy my first car, or whatever that means to you, or encouraging me on social media. There's so many different ways that we can feel and receive and give this love, this appreciation. Our friends, Valentine's Day is a great way, a great time to show appreciation for your friendships, for your coworkers. Just bringing a little bit of light and levity into the space. I don't think and I say every week I have the best job in the world, but even having the best job in the world, self-proclaimed, not every day is going to be perfect. You're going to have stressful days. You're going to have days when there's more deadlines than other times, or more stressful events, or traffic is bad, or a difficult session with a client, whatever that is for your workspace. Doesn't it make a difference to receive a smile or encouragement or a listening ear from maybe someone sitting in the office next to you? It makes a big difference. So that's going to be our focus today as we're celebrating this post-Valentine's Day. I want to carry this on through the week, and even beyond. So really focus this week on what is something that I can do. I'm all about this personal responsibility. We're the only people that we can control, right? We're the only people we're responsible for. What can I do to share a little love with someone who's meaningful to me? And again, if big romantic gestures are your thing, more power to you. But it doesn't have to be a big, grand gesture. A smile goes a long way. Eye contact goes a long way. A handshake goes a long way. A high five, a compliment, a hug if that's comfortable. I mean, it really can be that simple. So that's what I want to encourage you today. Now, that's kind of the beginning ways of thinking about strengthening these connections, right? The other side of that is, what are things that hurt connections? And remember, we're thinking about connections as it pertains to relationships, right? So what are some things that can damage these connections that we maybe don't even really mean to do? A little comment, being so overwhelmed that we maybe forget things, aren't paying attention to certain things that might be really special or important to somebody else, not following through. Little things, sometimes not even intentional, that can damage these connections, damage these relationships. And my guest today has a really, really cool, creative option for repairing these connections. Whether it's a relationship, a partnership, a family relationship, a work relationship, some really, really interesting outside of the box ideas for getting outside of maybe your typical therapy clinical space, getting outside four walls and getting in nature and letting nature and different activities and adventures really help to repair, build, and strengthen these connections, these bonds, and these relationships. So again, I think this is the perfect time, this Valentine's week, to explore some creative, outside of the box, that's what we're all about here at Connections, ways to build these relationships. Not only are we going to learn about all of this, but our guest today has the most incredible giveaway. I think it's one of the coolest giveaways we've ever had in a year and a half on this show. So you really, really do not want to miss that. So She's going to join us after the break. Before we cut to that, there's a couple things, announcements that I wanted to remind you of, events. I was away last week again. I missed it so much. I'm so glad to be back. But before I left, I had guests Yulia and Nicole from Creative Mornings Palm Beach, which if you missed the show, again, go back to Facebook Live, check it out. It was awesome. These two young ladies are entrepreneurs, they're small business owners, but they're also volunteers for this global initiative called Creative Mornings. They just started a Palm Beach chapter. These networking groups rotate every month around Palm Beach County, and they feature a speaker, coffee and donuts. They're bright and early Friday morning to bring together creatives. Now, if that word scares you and you think I'm not a creative, their mission is to show everybody that everybody is creative and everyone is welcome. So I cannot wait to check out my first Creative Mornings meeting. There is going to be one this Friday at 8:30. So this Friday, the 17th. It's going to be at the Old School Square, I believe it is in Delray Beach. And the theme for this month is moments, celebrating moments. So there's a woman there, the speaker, and she is going to be speaking on behalf of a school that she started, which is an alternative community-based mode to education called the Space of Mind. It's talking about the moments that are made in the classroom, this alternative approach to classroom. So I'm really, really excited about that. Their first one in West Palm Beach had like 84 people at it. It was incredible. I know that this is just going to be more and more successful. So if you are interested in that at all, and you can also look them up on Creative Mornings Palm Beach on Facebook. Along this kind of same theme of alternative approaches to education, even before Yulia and Nicole run, about a month or so ago, we had Raquel and Christina on, who also are a part of a community-based homeschool option for children, and they are promoting a documentary that's going to be happening this Saturday called Class Dismissed. And you've heard me talk about that a little bit. So their center is called Evolve Learning Center. You can look them up on Facebook as well. And they've got a documentary that they're going to do a panel discussion talking about the benefits and maybe some myths about homeschooling. And that is called Class Dismissed, is the documentary there. I talked straight through my song, so I had so much I wanted to talk to you about this. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, then we'll do our sing-along, and then I'm going to introduce you to my awesome guest, Nikki, today. You don't want to miss it. And by the way, did I mention an awesome giveaway? Stick around.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. I'm so thrilled to be back with you all this week. Thank you, however, you're joining us tonight, whether it's by 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, or by Facebook Live at our Facebook page, Connections by Aria. We're so glad to have you. So in my introduction today, I mentioned that we are continuing on. We're not just because Valentine's Day is done. No, we are keeping this theme rolling on because this is the time to celebrate connections in our lives and relationships in our lives and look at creative options for building and strengthening these connections, relationships. So my guest today is going to tell us about some really awesome, innovative, exciting, adventurous ways to look at these options for strengthening relationships. But before we do, I just wanted to take a second to share my favorite love song. I hope you don't mind. And it's only appropriate one time a year. So if I don't do it now, I won't get another chance. And last time I sang it was probably on the show last year for Valentine's Week. So I hope you'll indulge me. Some people don't like this song. They think that's a weird Valentine's Day song. It's not very complimentary, but I think it's one of the most beautiful jazz melodies ever written. So if you know it, I hope you'll sing along with me. This is My Funny Valentine. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? Are you smart, Bob? Don't change a hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay, please stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. But don't change a hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay, please stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. It's one of my favorites. How hauntingly beautiful is that melody? And you know what? Isn't that great? Maybe you're not the most beautiful specimen in the world. It's okay. Your Valentine loves you anyways. And I love the line, each day is Valentine's Day, and it's with the help of wonderful people like my guest today, Nikki Treadwell, who is a licensed mental health counselor and a co-owner of Epic Adventures Therapy, who helps keep those relationships strong so it feels like Valentine's Day every day. Nikki, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Bree, for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So before we get started, I know I'm so excited as I get every week just to learn more about different things going on in our community. Before we get into all of that, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got into this work.
Absolutely. As I'm sitting here letting your beautiful music just kind of wash all over me, and I'm feeling calm and ready.
Awesome.
So I am a licensed mental health counselor and a nationally certified counselor, and I have been doing therapy for about 7 years. I have been in Florida for about 7 years. And before that, I lived in Louisiana.
Okay.
So I get my southern roots, and I bring them into the beautiful Sunshine State.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I
Southern
started...
hospitality.
Definitely. I get that a lot. I started working in substance abuse. And I was in that industry for a little while, and then that's where I got my start in adventure therapy, which we'll talk more about. But then I had a baby. I became a mom, and my whole focus in life just shifted. And so about 3 years ago, I started a private practice, a very small private practice in Port St. Lucie, where I focus on perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. So I work with a lot of pregnant moms and postpartum moms. I offered a birthing program to help women prepare for natural labors. And so I have 2 kids now. So that's my one love. But then the other love is adventure therapy. So about 5 years ago, I started growing into the field, and now here I am. And so I split my time. First, I'm a mom. And then secondly, I do the 2 practices. I do my mom's and the adventure therapy piece.
That's awesome. And I mean, and kudos to you for finding that balance too,
It's
and setting
hard.
that priority.
It's
because
difficult.
It's got to be hard, especially when you feel so passionate about the things. It's not like, well, I love being mom, but I have to do these other things. You're like, I love doing all of these things.
Yes, and to equally balance all 3 of those things, and plus, your relationship with a partner
Sure.
that you want to be healthy. It's challenging, and there are weeks that I struggle, and there are weeks that I thrive, just like everyone. So
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
tribe is what does it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Get your people around you.
I hear
And
that
you
word
can-
a lot in that chair.
Yeah.
With
I
the
imagine you
individuals-
do.
I do. It's really cool. In fact, the ladies I was talking about had on last week, they were talking about that a lot. The stronger we have that tribe, there's people around us supporting us, encouraging us to all reach our best potential.
We are not islands.
No.
We need each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So many things you mentioned that you're passionate about. Today, specifically, we're going to be talking about this idea, adventure therapy, which is new to me. And as I mentioned to you a little earlier, I mean, I am no stranger to this idea of alternative or complementary integrative therapies. And I don't know about adventure therapy. I need to know about this. So please tell me, what is it?
So adventure therapy, in a basic definition, is it's experiential learning paired with processing, right? So it takes everything that as a therapist you know and you talk about and you educate on and you discuss and process, but you bring it into an experiential space. And so we use modalities like kayaking and hiking, and we bring people out into the wonderful sunshine and the beautiful woods, and we touch the sand, and we allow them to explore everything we talk about, but in an experiential way. And so we do it alongside with them, whether it be an individual or whether it be a family or a couple or a group. We do all of those, and we make sure that we're right there with that passenger, and we're helping them talk them out and process what they are experiencing.
That's awesome. We're in the perfect space for it.
We are.
I mean, talk about this multisensory input that we can receive from being around this.
Oh, yeah.
The sunshine, the sand, the water. We have access to it all. If only there could be mountains here.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be perfect. But that's okay.
Yes. It's funny that you say that, because a lot of our adventure therapy colleagues, they're from Northwest area, right?
Sure.
So, hiking is a common modality that we use. And so whenever we talk with them and they talk about these awesome hikes we go on, we're like, we go hiking too.
Yeah.
Like we walk in straight lines.
Yeah, we go to the
not
state
the same
park
thing.
and
Yeah.
we avoid the alligators. Yes, that's hike.
That's what we call hiking. In
Right,
Florida, it is
exactly.
hiking.
It is hiking. I'm down with that. That's my hike. I get it.
Definitely. Yes. We're sweating. We're putting forth effort. We're learning. We're growing. We're exploring. It's hiking.
It's so funny. I remember telling we met some family. I met some family in Peru about 2 years ago, and I'm like, I've been training for the Machu Picchu hike, right? They're like, where were you training? I'm like,
Right.
Well, I walked a path with a backpack on,
Yes.
so
yes. I had some weight
it
in
was
there.
at sea level, but we don't need to. Yeah, exactly. I had food in it. That was about it. But yeah, no. Well, that's the only thing we're missing. That's the only thing. Other than that, perfection. Totally.
I agree.
So, how did you get involved in adventure therapy?
So this was about, I would say, 5 years ago. I was working in a substance abuse facility, and I took over the position of clinical director, and I was encouraged and really nurtured to follow a creative path. So they wanted something a little bit different. And as a primary therapist, I was already doing a lot of experiential learning. I did not know it as adventure therapy yet, right? At that time, I thought I was just this brilliant therapist who was taking their clients outside and doing all of this. So yes, definitely. But when I got a little more serious and was looking into program options and the type of curriculum, I started learning about this really incredible entire field of work called adventure therapy. And so thus that's where the roots began. So I started as a clinical director of an adventure therapy-based company, and got to grow it and train it. And then after that is when I left to have a baby and kind of stayed connected to the field. And then we got to a point where, by this time I had a bunch of people around me who were also really interested in this idea of adventure therapy. And it was only available in substance abuse settings. And so that's when we were like, this is not okay. This is incredible. The amount of change we see in people. So we started Epic Adventures, which it operates similarly to a group private practice where we can bring adventure therapy to anyone who wants to partake in that type of therapy.
That's awesome. And if there's any other licensed mental health counselors or social workers and things listening, I mean, is there a certain certification that you need to become an adventure therapist?
That is a wonderful question. As of right now, there is not a specific certification. Now, there is an entire governing body, Association for Experiential Education, who governs these types of programs. And there is a therapeutic professionals group, which is what we fall under. So lots of resources for trainings year-round, conferences that we go to. So that is where you get your first start.
Okay,
right?
Awesome. Do you need to be registered then with that governing body for your practice?
Yes, absolutely. So they have a certain set of curriculum that kind of guidelines that you follow. Not really a curriculum, more like
a scope and
guidelines,
practice
best
type
practices type thing, and things you need to have in place. And so, yes, that is kind of what we align our program to.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, again, that idea of sharing best practices and supporting one another,
Yes.
that's, raises the standard, keeps everybody working towards the same goals.
It
That's
does,
great.
and it is a beautiful community, as are a lot of mental health communities
Sure.
out there, the adventure therapy community. And, it's one of those things where in the future, I would say very soon, we will start to see a credentialing process for adventure therapy. We're just not there yet.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, the more exposure that it gets, and we are going to break down exactly what we're talking about here and who it helps. But before we do, before we cut to our commercial break, you have an incredible giveaway for us today. So I just want you to introduce that really quickly, and then we're going to talk more about what that means after the break.
Okay, so part of what we do is team development. So we do groups for organizations or businesses who are looking to grow their team, corporate team trainings, you may have heard it called, but we kind of go in from a different approach. And so what we are giving away is a 3-hour team development group for up to 15 people, where either we could come to you or you could come to us, or we can meet in a neutral location outside at a park, and we will work with your team for 3 hours, helping process and explore the dynamics, kind of put you through some of our challenges, help you develop.
That is so awesome. Our team got an opportunity to do something very similar for just about an hour and a half last summer, and it was amazing. So if you are a manager, a leader, a small business owner, I mean, you don't want to miss this. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break and then talk about what some of the benefits of these programs we're talking about are. Stick around. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon, board-certified music therapist, here locally in Southeast Florida with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. My guest with me today, Nikki Treadway, is a licensed mental health counselor and a nationally certified
Yeah.
counselor. Is that the NCC? Perfect. And co-owner of Epic Adventures Therapy. So with a background working in substance abuse recovery and also your personal passion
Yes.
for children, but also your personal passion for just loving being out in nature.
Absolutely.
And you've found a way to kind of combine all these things of strengthening relationships, strengthening, I'm imagining also self-image and confidence through these
All
as
of those,
well,
yes.
for sure. You have found this niche in adventure therapy.
Yes.
And I think we're the luckiest people in the world that we get to do what
I
we love
agree, yes.
every day. And also being business owners
Yes.
and loving what we do every day. It's the best. So what are some of the different modalities that you all feature at Epic?
Okay. We have a lot of different options. So I think it's helpful to frame it in the type of services that we provide, right? So we see individuals, we see couples, we'll see families, we do substance abuse groups, and then we do the organization and business and corporate groups, okay? So we talk about a wide range of different focuses in the groups that we do. So one of the most popular is kayaking. That is everyone's favorite, right? Because we get to get on the water.
Makes sense.
It
One of my
does.
favorites.
It is, and it's really interesting. It's mind blowing how many people live in South Florida and have never been kayaking. So that's one of our modalities. We'll take
Or don't
people
go to the beach.
or don't go to the beach.
Yeah.
So we'll take people out on kayaks, and for every group that we do, there is intention, there is objective, right? There is a clinical focus. So sometimes we'll do a 5-hour paddle, and we'll stop along the way, and we'll process and do little tiny activities. Sometimes we have them stand up and balance on the kayak and change places. So we do some
That horrifies me.
fear-based programming
Yeah.
intentionally. You know, we put people in situations where their anxiety is going to go up, and we help them work through it with coping skills that we all know and love. We teach them breathing exercises. We watch their processes come out. I mean, that is the beautiful thing about adventure therapy is you cannot hide. There you are, right? If you go out into a kayak and then I ask you to stand up and then I ask you to change places, I get to see exactly how you're feeling in that moment. Are you resistant? Are you excited? Are you engaging in risky behaviors? You know, are you being methodical? Are you talking about how you feel? And in those moments, I will ask you, how are you feeling right now? You looked kind of scared when I said that. And we get to process that all on the water. You know, sometimes it's just about, you know, a 5-hour kayaking trek. Sometimes we go out to Jonathan Dickinson and we'll go to Trapper Nelson's. And that's, depending on your kayaking ability, you're looking at, you know, a 3-hour,
Sure.
you know, kayaking hike, or maybe 2 hours. But it's telling, like, endurance and your approach, and if you're able to pace and what's going on, and how you know you're super excited about something and then an hour later you're not and you're ready to quit and give up, and let's talk about that and let's translate that pattern to other things in your life. And all of these beautiful dynamics come up when we put you in this. Hiking is another one, which, as you mentioned, you know, I think is pretty self-explanatory, right? We're just kind of walking, we're exploring, but you would be surprised at how many people feel turned off by the idea of hiking, and then we get out there and we walk and we talk. Sometimes we talk while we're walking. Sometimes we'll hike and then we'll stop and we'll find a nice, quiet, private place, and we'll do what I call set up camp, which sometimes is hammocks or lay bags or just blankets, and we'll do a nice meditation.
Oh,
and
I'm just
we'll-
relaxed listening to this. Like,
Yes,
it just reminds me that I need to get back
you
out.
need to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting because, you know, thinking about our conversation as I'm preparing during the day, and it's coming up for me now is when I share with people what I do, like, oh, I get it. Music is my therapy, right?
Yes.
Music so therapeutic. I mean, this makes so much sense to me.
It does.
I mean, just the act of getting that sand in your toes and getting on the water, I mean, it's therapeutic.
It is. And, you know, for people who struggle with mindfulness activities or meditations, right? If you're the type of person who you listen to a guided imagery and you have a really hard time connecting sensory, this is a great way to teach that, right? We don't just talk about the beach. Let's go to the beach. We're going to feel the wind in our hair. We're going to smell the salt. We're going to touch the sand. And you're going to do all of those things while I'm guiding you, and you're relaxing, so that when you're sitting at home and you're struggling or you're feeling anxious, you will be able to have that sensory recall. You can go right back to that much easier than if you never went there in the first place.
And then having that next level being guided by a certified counselor who's able
Absolutely.
to process, like you're saying, you're taking in the experiences, what you're observing from individuals, and able to process through that with them. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because it's right there. It's really easy. I say that a lot. Like, people who are new to adventure therapy think, wow, that must be difficult. And I think it's actually a lot easier because when you're sitting in the four walls, sometimes you only see so much of who that person is. But out there, stuff comes up really easy.
Sure.
And you get to comment on it and help them see what's going on. And
Lot harder to hide, like you were saying.
so much harder to hide. And not only that, there's a freedom that exists in the wilderness, so to speak, where in groups, people are talking more freely, right? The rapport builds easier. It feels less formal. Hey, we're just kind of hanging out, taking a walk. And so walls come down. You would be amazed at some of these revelations that occur 3 hours into a hike when everybody is kind of breathy and sweating, but we're all in here together and we're all looking at each other, and then we stop and we pause for a moment, and I ask, come right off the gate asking some really intense questions, and they're right there. They're ready to get into it.
That's awesome. And it's a spiritual thing.
Very
too.
spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's all of those domains,
It is.
working together. I feel personally, anyways, when you're in nature.
It is. And, we try to do a balance of all the different types of activities, right? So sometimes we get people that come to us who are really high energy and they want to do something crazy and risky and they want to do the slacklining and okay, we may do some of that. But at the same time, that may not be your need. Like, you seem to do really well. So let's practice kind of a slower paced activity for you and see how you perform in that. Groups that we work with regularly, we rotate land and water. We go with slow paced to fast paced. We do fear based versus meditation based. We kind of like to expose everyone to everything.
Sure. That's amazing. I want to really quickly cut back to what we were talking about before the last commercial break. This awesome, generous offer of a giveaway for a 3-hour team building, corporate-based adventure group, adventure therapy group, and for up to team members up to 15.
Up to 15.
Right? And you have a call to action. You can't just call in.
Exactly.
No, because like you said out there, it's adventure-based therapy.
It is.
Make you work for it.
Absolutely.
I love it. So what does our lucky caller have to do for us today?
So what I would like you to do is to call in and tell me why your organization or your business deserves this.
I love
Tell me why you deserve this. What makes you deserving of this 3-hour adventure-based group?
Show some love to your team this Valentine's Day
Yes.
week. Like, why are you so incredible? Why are you so amazing? Why do you deserve this team building experience? Which, again, just from the limited experience that
Yes.
I had with my team, and I'll share a little bit about that in the moment. It's so impactful. It's really incredible. 888-565-1470. You have until 7 o'clock. Our program ends tonight to call into the show and tell us why your team, and you don't have to be the manager or the owner. You can just be a team member. You think my team could really benefit from this. Everybody could. Here's the thing. That's a short answer to that. If you just are part of any team at all, you can benefit from it.
That's
awesome.
absolutely right. I mean, this is a nurturing act, right?
Yes.
To call in to receive this is a nurturing act. You're taking care of your
love that.
team. When we talk about teams of any capacity, it's a family. When you look at family dynamics, those become very prominent in all teams and all organizations. Roles are assumed. Communication patterns are developed that is very similar to families. So we treat it as such when we work with these organizations and businesses.
I love that. That's awesome. So it's making me think about, and I honestly hadn't thought about this in a while, of one of the activities that we did. And we were all blindfolded, and one of us was to be like kind of the leader in the group, and
Yes.
and I was. And so we all had blindfolds, and we were all kind of in a group, and as the leader, I was in the center, and then my job was to get this rope unknowed. It was all
Yes,
knotted up in the
yes.
hands of everyone, and then tell them to step out so that when I opened my eyes, we were in a perfect square.
Yes.
Okay, you're familiar
I am
with
very
this?
familiar with that, yes.
Anxiety for me the entire time as the person untangling all this.
In
lots of-
charge, needing to have the
Yes.
vision, the insight, the communication, it all fell on you.
Oh my gosh. When I opened my eyes after all of this, perfect square.
Ah.
Perfect square. I felt such relief, and I just said the whole time, I just didn't want to let you guys down. You know? And to hear my team in that moment saying, no, we responded to, You told us all to take a step back, a foot length in our right foot, and the way it wasn't related to music therapy, our clients, our work at all. And I'll never forget that moment of how my team, I think, understood me better.
Yeah.
And how I understood how they receive what I'm saying.
Sure.
And how I understood how they are talking to each other, too.
Yeah, because you were exposed, right? You had an element of authenticity in that moment because I don't know if you volunteered for that position or if you were chosen for that position, but, somewhere, either way, there was leadership qualities. There was a level of confidence that you had to have, and you kind of pushed yourself through it, and the insecurities came out a little bit, which is a beautiful thing because we all have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your team was right there to
be
help.
honest with them about that.
You had to be.
It was really incredible. We have a caller.
Yay.
Is it Felicia? Felicia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Are you interested in our amazing, awesome giveaway tonight?
I am. It'll be so awesome for my whole team. That'll be great.
That's awesome. So our call to action today to win this awesome opportunity is let us know, why does your team deserve this?
I would say I work at a nursing home with only 59 beds. And so, we're part of a big organization, but we're just a little nursing home, so we get all the hand-me-downs and but the team, they really make it work. They're really, it's like the Taj Mahal in there. Like, they're so nice. They go out of their way for every single resident, every single family member, every day. And when you know that they do this just from the kindness of their heart, like, they'll be there on a Saturday for no reason, just to, take someone to get a haircut or bring, something. Yeah. They're awesome. So that'll be great for them. But
a lot of people who are passionate then about their work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very.
And deserve maybe some nurturing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think? Deserving, huh?
Definitely deserving.
I am so excited for you, Felicia. Thank you so much for listening and for calling in and for thinking about your teammates in this way. I mean, what an amazing teammate you are for considering what impact this will make.
Thank you for doing that for your team, Felicia.
Thank you guys for having me. It'll be great. They'll all love it.
That's awesome. So stick on the line. I'm going to get your information, and then we will contact you right after the show, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Have a great night.
I'm excited to work with them.
That is awesome. I'm like almost teared up hearing it. I'm like, this is going to be so great for them.
That's exactly right.
And for a team of people who, it sounds like it's their weekend.
Yeah.
They've probably worked hard all week, I'm sure more than 40 hours. And to look forward to something that gets to
sounds deserving.
Let their hair down, bond with their team.
Get to be a human and not just that role, that employee, but get to kind of, be present and humanistic in that moment. Yes.
Yay. Awesome. Oh my gosh, I love this show so much. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking a little bit more about Epic Adventure Therapies, but also how you can get in contact with Nikki and what are some of the events she has going on in the community. Stick around.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. I'm here with Nikki Treadwell. Am I saying?
Treadway. It's okay.
Well, I thought you'd been doing that the entire time.
Nah, you keep going back and forth. Treadway, it's fine.
Last time, I didn't even say the guest's last name because I hate when I do that, and I'm just like, we're first name basis around here. I'm sorry. Nikki Treadway,
Thank you.
licensed mental health counselor with Epic Adventure Therapy. I'm getting fired after this show. And we're talking about some amazing things, this creative, out-of-the-box way to approach team building, relationship building, family bond building. This is something for everybody, right? Wellness as well. Just getting into nature is just good for the soul.
It is good for the soul.
So I am so thrilled. It made my whole week that we just got to give Felicia this awesome giveaway for her team. She works at a small nursing home, and she just can't wait to honor and treat her coworkers, her teammates, to a 3-hour adventure-based
Team development.
This is so incredible. So thank you for being here.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. And I can see that. I see that you love what you do, right? Again, we're so lucky.
Yes.
We're so lucky to love what we do. I wonder if you could share with us just some of you've talked about, and I'm specifically interested in when you ask someone to do something or you have an idea is going to elicit this fear response.
Yes.
Can you give an example of when you've observed that, and how did that look, and how did that turn out?
Yes. So we are big advocates of challenge by choice, right? So that everyone, it's clear that everyone participating in our activities are doing so by their own choice. They want to be there and they want to challenge themselves. That doesn't mean they always want to do the activity, but we put the power in their court, right? Because that benefits them none if we're forcing anybody to do anything. And every therapist knows that. So we make that clear from the start, which helps whenever we get to that point of asking them to do something scary.
Yeah.
We call that the stretch zone, which is where we kind of step out of comfort and we go into stretch. So this happens a lot. One example I have is we do some slacklining activities, which if you've ever done slacklining, you know that it is incredibly difficult. And I don't think anyone can stand on a slackline for the first time and be successful at it. So
I'm not even sure what that means.
A slackline? It is this, it's a type of webbing. It's a line that's tied between two trees and pulled very taut, and then you walk across it.
Okay.
That's the activity of slacklining. Now, what we do with clients is we use it a lot of different ways. We put it between two different trees. We'll have clients support each other walking across the slack line. Regardless, it's something that looks easy when you're standing on the ground, but then once you stand up, it becomes very scary, right? And usually the first person to volunteer is the risk taker, right? And then so they get up there and I could do this, and then they fall off. Then everybody kind of jumps into reality of, wow, this is very challenging.
Sure.
And we're going to have to work a little bit harder to be successful at this. And so one case I'm thinking of specifically, there was a client who was incredibly anxious. You know, the client that when you first lay eyes on him, you can see that he struggles. Sure. And he was unfortunately in a group with a bunch of people who were of the risk-taking variety and pushed and weren't as in tune to what was going on with him. And so, he watched his teammates struggle on the slack line, and some became successful, some did not. When it came his term, he stood on the slack line, and I stood there with him, and I helped him breathe, and I made him look in my eyes and repeat some affirmations, and then he ultimately decided not to walk across. And his teammates became very discouraging at that point, right? Like, why don't you do it? You can do it. Oh my gosh, just get back up. And so that's when we had to kind of circle up and really have a conversation about that's his space and his challenge, and if we truly want to help someone, what that looks like. And it was a great conversation. He still refused to do it, which again is okay. So that was an activity that we started with. We left the slack line up and we moved on to a different activity, and this was a multi-hour group. And so during breaks, I find that he would go back and stand near the slack line and touch it. And like whenever we encourage clients to take their space, right? Acknowledge the introverts in the group, and so go be alone if you need to. So he would go stand by the slack line and he would touch it, and I caught him sitting on it one time, and towards the end of the day, I kind of went over to him, and I'm, talking to him and just having conversations, not about the slack line. To wrap up the story, he ended the day by walking across the slack line. He wanted space. He eventually asked me for help and called one other peer over. This was after group was done. This was after we were kind of done with the day and everybody was packing up, and he did not want to leave without attempting. And he got up and he walked across it. And that was huge for him.
That's huge. That's awesome.
Huge for him.
Yeah.
He needed the space. He needed somebody to give him that cushion to explore and to process over time. And that was a big pattern for him. He had a lot of family dynamics coming into play. He was struggling with addiction. He had, ACOA pattern of being kind of forced into these situations and
Feeling the pressure of all of that.
fighting his way out. And that's exactly what happened. Once his teammates, who were intending good, started pressuring, he shut down. And
in ways that maybe they would respond positively
yes,
to. Everybody's
exactly.
different. Right.
But that opened up so many channels for conversation, and we had I think that led into a topic of love languages and how we show love and how we nurture each other, and what works for you doesn't work for this person, and we all have our different journeys. And that was just a really big moment. That was a moment that once he got up and walked across, you feel your whole body start to tingle, and you see his smile go across his face, and he steps down, and he was a really shy individual, and he kind of looks down and he kind of looks up, and you want to run over there and jump and hug him. I didn't in that moment because he liked the space.
He wants the space.
He wants a space, but he wanted the eye contact and the nod, and that was huge for him. And he ended up coming back later, and he always talked about that. Like, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I did that.
Were the other group members around to see that? Or?
They weren't. I think what had happened in that moment, he had asked one team member to come over and myself to help him complete this activity. And I think they saw, but did not interrupt. Right? So they were respecting in their own ways.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they had kind of gotten accustomed to the way we were doing group and the way we were talking, and so they fell in love with that. Yeah.
Very cool. That's a great story.
I want to share this one really quickly because this is one of my favorites, but we take clients snorkeling a lot around. We're in Florida. We have the water, and so snorkeling is one of my favorite activities to take clients. And I'm not a strong snorkeler myself, so when I go, I don't usually take lead. I go with support, but it never fails. You always have that client who is so fearful of the water. And having them go in step by step, right? The rest of the team may be out there, standing next to that person, holding that person's hand, watching them ease into this fear, watching the courage come up, helping them breathe. Sometimes we just go sit in the water next to that person, right? We just sit with. How important is that as a clinician, just to sit with someone? We don't even have to talk. Like, we're here. We're just going to be
holding
here.
that space.
We're going to hear the waves. Yeah, we're going to hold this space for you. And they always keep going because they want it. We all do. We want it. We want the connection. I know you talk a lot about connection. And I want to connect to this activity. I want to get what they're getting. I want to get what my teammates are getting. And they do. And it's really great to be able to help them do that.
That's awesome. I remember being in high school and being very, very fearful of, not necessarily stepping in the ocean, but seeing what was under. And my mom said, hey, we're going to the Keys, and I booked a snorkeling trip.
Yes.
And she wanted to give me a heads up, but for that month that I knew, night terrors every night. I was horrified of what I was going to see. But I went, and I knew her favorite thing was snorkeling. I'm like, okay, I want to do this with you. We can do it. I don't remember ever being so afraid as I was jumping in that water to do it. I was the last one back on the boat.
Of course. Of course. You fell in love.
Loved it. I loved it. I couldn't believe it. I can still see so vividly I could tell you the types of fish, the colors, everything that I saw. It's just, it is a whole nother world.
It is.
I was afraid of because I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
That
and it's
unknown.
scary.
Yeah.
It is scary out there in the water sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, there was a 5-foot shark swimming right at me. Nurse shark, but I don't know. I'm from upstate New York. I don't know nurse shark from a hammerhead. I'm like, whatever. That's Jaws was going under me, but I loved it. So I can totally understand what you're saying as far as that fear.
Yes.
But also that appreciation. Yeah, that's incredible. What are some? Do you have community events coming up or things that are open to the community?
So what we do, as I mentioned, we operate mostly as a private practice, so people can call and schedule sessions. But we try to every month or every other month offer what we call workshops or retreats.
Great.
So what we have coming up actually is this weekend. So February 18th, this Saturday, we are having an epic couples retreat. So it is an opportunity for couples to come in. It's from 9:30 to 2:30. So it's a 5-hour day. So we do a full day. And it's really to help any type of couple. I want to say this, that it doesn't matter, your body type, your activity level, even if you can kayak, we're not looking for those super strong people to come to this is for anyone. Yeah, but it's a couples retreat. Come in, strengthen your relationship, kind of get to know each other on a different level. kind of deepen your understanding of each other, work on communication. So
That's awesome. And do you do these a couple times? Is this a
we
one-time
do.
only?
So this is the only one we have scheduled right now, but we tend to do stuff every month, every other month. That's the only thing we have
great.
scheduled on our calendar.
Okay.
Our Facebook page is the best place to check for what events. So we do an Epic
Perfect.
Moms group, which I host. I blend my two worlds.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Where I let
That's
moms
great.
come out, but so we just had one in January, so we'll probably do another one in March or April. All of these groups that we do that I'm talking about, the workshops or the retreats, that we offer them for the community, but if any point anybody wants to schedule one, they can. So if you're a group of moms or a group of couples, say 3 or 4 couples, and you want
Yeah.
to do something different for a weekend,
That's awesome.
then we can schedule that and work with like a private group like that.
I love that. And how can people get in touch with you all, find out about these things going on?
Yeah, so you can check out our Facebook page. You can check out our website, which is www.epicadventurestherapy.com. You can also check us out on Instagram, or you can call us at 855-5BE-EPIC.
Oh, I love it. And in the Facebook is Epic Adventure Therapy LLC, correct?
Yes.
Very cool. Nikki, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you
today.
for having me, Bree.
I mean, I hope we can continue talking about this.
Yes.
Maybe you'll come back because I know there's so much more
There's
to
so
explore.
much more,
There
yes.
is, absolutely. And I love your passion for it. So thanks again. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discovered new ways to bring music, art, and dance into your home or workplace. Please find a copy of today's show at pbmti.com. If you have any questions for our guest or myself, please email me at Bree, that's BREE, at pbmti.com, or call the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute at 561-747-9944. Tune back in next week for an all-new live show. See you then.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly